What's happening, everybody? This is Angel Javier, and introduce yourself, sir.
Uh, Joseph Correa, Mason's dad.
Yeah, and that's
Mighty Mason.
Mighty Mason, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Mighty Mason. You know, it's really funny. We've been doing this now for a little while, and it's really cool because one of the things that we've been doing, obviously raising money for the kids. We've donated um, just over $100,000 since we started doing this, which is a
Yeah.
crazy thing to think about. Yep. Oh.
There he is. He got a little.
We had an appearance by Mighty Mason right there. For those of you listening to the podcast, we are live streaming on GOTE.tv. Again, that's GOTE.tv. That's our Twitch channel. You can find us on Twitch under Gamers on the Edge. But anyway, one of the things why I really wanted to talk to you is because I've seen it firsthand, and I understand that a lot of people don't get to see it. But when the community gets together and they help, they're not just helping a kid. It's a family thing, and
Oh
and,
yeah.
and I wanted you to kind of walk us through that, because everybody is pulling for Mighty Mason, but we have to pull for the whole family as a whole. He's got a sister, he's got a mom, he's got a dad. What's that like? What is that journey like?
Um, so it's really like it's a feeling like you can feel the love and support that comes from people and the collective consciousness of like we are all pulling for Mason, right? So when we were sharing, we weren't sharing a lot of stuff in the beginning before all this happened. Then we're like, man, I really want to share our what's going on with us, and I really want people to connect with us and support him in different ways. So what it feels like for us is the support that it gave us and held us up to be able to hold him up, is what it really boiled down to. So everything that we were getting from the community, whether Gamers on the Edge, whether all the charities that are around for the pediatric cancer and families and things like that, everything that held us up allowed us to hold him up, and be in a good state of mind, feeling good, even going through this whole thing. He never lost his energy, never lost his positivity. Like he was down sometimes, but he was like his gaming kept him up every time. Before you guys came up, I told him he was going through surgery, so he was going to come out of surgery, come home with this computer already set up.
Yeah.
And that was like just his motivation to get home. He was like playing this game on the tablet, which was great, which was provided to us by another foundation, right? But when we got home, I was like, Mason, we got to get home, so you got to get up and walk, you got to start eating, and all of that, the motivation to come home and get this computer. And he knew you guys were coming from Florida, where our family's from. All of that, the motivation, and he to keep him going like that. So it's so much, and for the family and him, it just trickles down. It's great.
And shout out to Lobo. You have no idea who Lobo is. Um, but he's one of those guys that has supported us from the get go,
Yeah.
and he found your story. We had no idea. Again, we're in Florida, you're in North Carolina. He found your story and tagged me and said, "Hey, Angel, you might want to look into this." And it's just one of those things. We have this saying, at least for our family, because we've been on the broke for a while, and we've always said, listen, a lot of times we can't, but when we can, we do. And,
Yeah.
and that has been something that we've really tried to live by. When we can, we do. We recognize there's a lot we can't do, but when we can, we do. And again, sometimes the can be something as simple as what Lobo did, which is
Yeah.
just share it with us. And at that point, the community
Yeah.
got together, they raised the money. We had a guy build the whole thing. And Javier and I took a trip out there. It was kind of cool because my little brother
Yeah.
lives in South Carolina,
Right. I
so we
remember.
went to South Carolina Friday night because we didn't want to show up at your place like at 11 o'clock
Yeah.
at night.
No.
Right. 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 Right.
So we stayed at my little brother's Friday night, and then took off from South Carolina to your place first thing Saturday morning. But that was really, dude. That your boy has so much energy. It
It
was
hasn't stopped, man.
it's amazing, through the chemo, through all of it. That Mighty Mason really has so much energy. It's so really, it's
I don't think I've
so
ever
amazing.
had that much energy.
He's on it. It's so cool. But walk us through his story, and again, it's your story, which is what I want people to understand, that Mason didn't go through this by himself. It was a family thing. How did you deal with it? How did his sister deal with it? I mean, all that. How, take us back to the beginning here.
Yeah, and it's almost a year later. The 26th or the 23rd was his diagnosis. First off, John Lobianco is who you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know him since band days. He was in a friend
Really?
of mine. Yeah, he was in a friend of mine's band, and we supported each other through, at BB McGee's, doing bands and events. And he's friends of mine since high school, right? I've
That's
known him since
hysterical. What
then.
a small world, man.
Oh yeah. So he tagged you guys or tagged us in
Yeah,
one of
he
your posts,
tagged us on it.
and he was amazing. Thank you to him so much.
I
So,
love John. John and
um,
China. By the way, small world. I did their wedding.
like DJ.
No, I performed their wedding. I was the
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 officiator.
minister, the officiary for the wedding.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm also a minister. I've done a
So,
few weddings.
so I did their wedding down here. So that was really
That's
really cool.
great.
But
That's
small
great.
world, man. Small world. But anyway, go ahead. Take us back.
So yeah, shout out to him. So let me see. I guess in February, like this is a double. This was kind of like a double thing. Like through COVID in 2020, this is just as we were getting information about COVID. Like in January, that guy in the military had come here in New York, and then February, my wife had got into an accident with one of our cars, and the one that we use for family stuff, and we were in the middle of we had a car rental in the middle of it. I was driving around looking for cars for us, and we took Mason in. So in November, he had like a swelling in his liver, like right around his liver area, and it went through to December. The pediatrician said she didn't know what it was, but he had been doing breathing treatments. She thought maybe his lungs were expanding, pushing his organs out. And we were like, okay, like, whatever. So going into January, we're like, this is getting worse. Let's take him in. So he was kind of sick. So we brought him in. And then we were like, he's got in February and he had the swelling. So we just said, let's get him scanned and see what's up. And they did a sonogram, and they found this mass in his liver, and they immediately told us that we had a pediatrician appointment on Wednesday, but they set us up with an oncologist and a doctor. So we went to the oncologist doctor on Wednesday, and Tuesday our pediatrician, she had no idea what it could have been, and she's like, I'm just going to send you to the oncologist and go from there. So we went to the oncologist. She set us up for scans that following Monday, and we were like, all right, we just went with it. Okay, if you're not concerned about it, we are. But if he has no symptoms, he was not, no, nothing like that. So they didn't think it was anything they should look at immediately. But come Friday, we were driving around in a rental, and I'm looking for a new car, and he was eating something, and then all of a sudden he said his stomach started hurting, and I immediately like freaked out. Any other time I would have been like, all right, man, maybe it's just the M&Ms you ate or something like that. But I immediately freaked out. I called the doctor because they told us to call if anything happened, and I just rushed to the kids emergency room, and I got into the kids pediatric emergency room, and we called his mom, and she came, and they immediately set him up for scans right then and there. So we had CT scans, and the doctor that was in the emergency room came back to us and was like, I'm so sorry, like he's got a huge mass, and we believe it's probably cancer. And he was just immediately off there. He said, yeah, I think it's that. And so our doctor came in, and they immediately put him in the hospital. We set a room immediately, put him upstairs. They did more scans, and that Saturday, so the next day, he was set up for a biopsy. Sunday for
Let
a
me
biopsy.
let me pause real quick because I have to ask.
Yeah.
I'm a father of three. Somebody comes in and says he's got a massive mass. I mean, what are you guys? Was it just you there? Or was everybody there at that point?
So it was me, and I was driving with my daughter. I'm trying to remember if she stayed. she was in the car. It was me, her, Crystal. It was a time when they weren't restricting any visitors. So it was me, Crystal, and I think Marley. And then somebody came and got Marley for us. I think my mom came and picked up Marley. So we were in the room, and we've been, my wife had been more concerned about it than I was. I didn't know, it's just like maybe it's just swelling a little bit. So when I first heard it, I'm more of the I'm not dramatic, so I didn't like get immediately freaked out, but I was like, all right, what's coming? What are we gonna do here? And I think I stayed calm mostly through the whole thing, and until like sometimes, I was getting a little anxious and kind of I question a lot, so I was like pretty rough on the doctors a few times. Um, but that's the extent of my drama. I wasn't really, when things get rough, I just kind of tighten up and I just push, like. So
Right.
my wife was very upset. She was holding him, she was crying, and we realized some of the things he was getting sick with, maybe that had was stemming from what had happened, because it had spread to his lungs once we found out with the biopsy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he set up with a biopsy and a port install automatically on Sunday. They said, we're going to put a port there because we know we're going to have to treat this. And then when they came back on Sunday after the biopsy and said it was cancer and it was stage 4, because it had spread to his lungs, and he wasn't resectable at diagnosis, which means they couldn't do surgery immediately. They had to hit him with some chemo first to shrink it and eliminate some of the stuff in his lungs. Then they did surgeries, and then he did chemo afterwards. So it was stage 4 immediately.
And for the people who don't understand the port, can you go ahead? Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, it's this amazing thing, and I can't imagine uh, other people going through it without it. It's basically they install it. Instead of getting in your arms all the needles all the time, we went weekly for chemo, and we spent weeks in the hospital, right? So they have stuff in his arms all the time. So when they put the port in, this thing can literally take, it goes underneath the skin, and it's attached to a main artery or vein in the neck that goes to the heart immediately, right? So it's a direct line to the heart where they pump the medicine in, and you basically stick the needle in, they cover it, and it's just in there the whole time, and it's underneath your skin, and you come home with it, and they take it out, and it just, you don't see it but a bump like right here.
Right.
And it's something they just put it in, and it goes through this little like self-sealing silicone almost, and it goes in, and then that's where all the medicine goes through.
So you're
So
saying did they put it in before they got the diagnosis?
same day. So he got the biopsy right here in his upper abdomen, or by
Right.
the liver, and they put the port in the same surgery while he was down.
Oh
So
wow.
they put him down. They did both surgeries right there.
Because they just knew that they were going to need it at that point.
Yeah, they immediately. The doctor was like, "I'm almost 100% sure this is what it is. It's called hepatoblastoma. It's rare. They only get about 2 or 3 cases a year at the hospital. About 200 cases a year at the United States.
Wow.
So it was rare, and he was older. So it's usually they find it within, by the time you're born, to 18 months, and this had gone unnoticed all the way up to 4 years old. He was.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So then he goes. He's a fighter.
Hasn't stopped, man.
We've been following the journey and seeing how he's doing and what he's doing, and you're posting things out to YouTube and to Facebook, and I mean, he is active, isn't he?
Oh, he is always doing something. I had him over the summer. We were careful with COVID and everything, but at the same time, we didn't stop our life. Like I had him over the summer riding bikes. I had him um, skateboarding. I built ramps for them. And I'm absolutely sure, like I said, everybody holding us up allowed us to continue to do what we do. And I didn't stop. I was building stuff. I was taking them right before I took them to the gaming, before everybody shut down. I
Right.
took them to Frankie's Fun Park. We played video games. We did all this stuff. So we still went and did things. I took him on go-karts. They masked up and everything. He was on antibiotics to protect him from certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
we stayed safe, but we never stopped,
You
and
know,
he never stopped.
and with that, one of the things that we really try to do is, um, one of the things that we tell people all the time is just one of the things is just to make sure that kids feel like kids.
Yeah.
You know, that kids can be kids. And obviously it sounds like that was one of the main things you were doing. I mean, how important is it for people to treat him like any other kid, you know? Because I know that that's exactly what you were doing. You were not treating him any different. I had the pleasure, Javier and I had the pleasure of being there
Yeah.
at your place and saw him there, saw his sister as well, and obviously you were treating both of them the same, and I'm guessing that's always been the case with this.
Yeah, that's a compliment I received from a good friend of mine. They said the one thing I love about you is that you're not giving cancer a fighting chance. Like you're not you treat him like as if he doesn't even have it. Like, and I'm like, yeah, we're just doing what we do, and all the love we received just allowed me to continue to do that. And that's a compliment I received is that I just kept letting him be who he was, and he didn't stop. And it's almost like he knew what was going on and he asked questions about it, but he was just on. I followed him. I tell everybody I followed him. Like if he was down, I was sleeping, playing nice music and chilling with him. If he was up, I was up. I'm like, ready, let's get up, let's play monster trucks in the hospital where I was. Whatever he wanted, I had him. And if it wasn't for everybody supporting us and donating and things like that, I don't know if I'd have been able to do it, but I would have done whatever I could, whatever it took in order to keep him up.
That's awesome. It's just, man, it was really, really, really cool to meet you guys. I know I saw the other photos, and I thought it was really cool. One of the things you said, he rang the bell. Saw the video for that. How was that? How did that feel to, like, okay, this is official now?
I'll tell you what. What were you gonna say?
No, no, you might say it, because go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say.
Well, I'll tell you what. It didn't feel official until last Monday, because last Monday. Now here he comes. Hold on. What, buddy? Show me what you drew. He's drawing. He likes Siren Head. He likes.
No.
Okay. Let me see. What is this?
It's the bendy dude.
It's Bendy.
Fancy.
It's the bendy dude.
No, not bendy.
He likes Bendy and the Ink Machine. He's very into Bendy.
It's the little dude.
Let me see that guy.
And look at that.
Let me see. We got it for the Switch, and he's been playing it. We've been watching the gameplay. He's
awesome.
amazing. He's been drawing.
And
He's got his tie on. He's looking all fancy today. He knew. Nice. Look at this. He draws Siren Head all the time. He likes Siren Head. That's crazy. Yeah. Come here. Come sit with me. You want to come sit with me?
No, I'm
Okay.
gonna finish making a bendy cake.
All right. Go ahead.
He's busy. He's busy playing. He's
Always
busy
busy.
being a kid, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah.
You are good at making Bendy. All right.
And I'm gonna make the normal bendy now.
Okay.
And bendy.
Show me. All right. So I forgot what was your question? That's awesome. I'm glad we got to do that.
Listen, it really is about the kids, and it's such a. I mean, you probably don't know this. That's how we got started in all of this. When we first started doing this, it was when the economy went belly up, and
Yeah.
my wife and I both lost our jobs on the same day. We lost our house. We lost a car because we had to sell our car so that we could pay a lawyer so he could prove that we were broke. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense
No,
whatsoever.
right? Oh,
And then
man.
we ended up bouncing around like two, almost 3 years. We bounced around,
Yeah.
and I didn't want my boys to fall behind in school, so I was taking them to the mall, and we were using their internet so that I could homeschool them.
Nice.
And in the process of all this, we decided to, let's do something because other people have it worse than we do. I mean, this is not good, this is bad, but other people have it worse than we do. And we talked to the boys about, what do you guys want to do? And Javier had, go ahead, tell them your story because
So, when I was 4,
yeah, it's right around the same age.
it's right around the same age. Yeah, I had pneumonia really bad. It was scary for a bit. Nowhere near as scary as cancer, mind you, but it was definitely a lot to deal with as a kid.
And as a parent, when your kid can't breathe, you
Yeah.
know, that's an issue.
Yeah. I
But
can
anyway,
imagine.
so
And
so
I
then-
had reactive airway disease, so I was used to like not being able to breathe at times. So I was like, I didn't think anything of it at first, and then I was like, you know what? I really can't breathe. That's that's probably an issue. But yeah. So no. Do you want me to go
yeah, we
all
took
the
you
way
to the
back?
hospital. No, we took you to the hospital. And you know, as we were trying to think of something to do for the kids, Javier happened to remember the two things that you had
There-
gotten while you were at the
There
hospital.
were two things. So the first thing was a giant stuffed cow. I still have that cow. It's still in my room somewhere.
By the way, he's 21 for those of you listening
yeah,
to
I'm
the
20.
podcast.
We got plenty of the gifts.
He got that cow when he was 4 in the hospital.
Yeah. I mean, I still have stuffed animals.
Yeah, that's right.
They're cool, but so yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I didn't know anything about Star Wars because I was way too young. So I just can't. Do you know the character Count Dooku?
Yeah.
I named it Count Mumu because it was a cow. And,
I liked his voice.
oh yeah, no, Christopher. What's his last? Christopher Lee, that's his name. He, amazing actor. But
So you got the cow.
so I got the cow, and then the other thing that I was able to use in the hospital was a N64 with Super Mario 64 on it.
We're taking you
Nice.
back here, Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Nintendo 64.
Ooh, it's been
The
a
funny
while.
thing about Nintendo's about Super Mario 64 is I've actually started playing it recently again and doing like
Yeah.
speed runs for it, so that's fun. But yeah. So when we first were trying to figure out what to do for other people while we were going through all of that was we were doing the Journeys Pals.
Yeah,
as
we did
called
Journeys
it at
Pals.
the time, where we
Okay.
just got a bunch of stuffed animals.
We
and
found out our local hospital had like 263 or something like that
Yeah, I think that was
beds.
it.
So we decided to get 263 stuffed animals.
We ended up getting over 300, I think.
It was really funny because when we showed up to the hospital, we called in and we're like, hey, we're here at the lobby. Where do you want us to put these stuffed animals? They're like, just put them in the box. We're like, no, you don't understand. We have over
They're not gonna fit
We
in the
got-
box. I think
we
you're gonna
got a
need a
truck.
bigger box.
and then from there, we went to, well, you know what? The gaming helped you out, and what can we do with gaming? So we decided to do this Extra Life thing that we had heard about and do a 24-hour gaming marathon. So like instead of doing, you know, hey, I'm gonna walk 5 miles, donate $1 for every mile I walk, we decided to do, hey, we're gonna play games for 24 hours, donate $1 for every hour we play. And I remember year one we raised $233, you know.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to where we are today, and you know we've been blessed to be able to donate over 100,000 and to be able to help people like yourself, you know. And to be honest with you, that's probably the part I really enjoy the most, because to a lot of people, you know, the amount of money sounds like a lot, but driving up to see you guys and seeing him there and seeing him, you know, run with his, you know, with his friend, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and playing with his sister and all that. To me, that's what it's all about, you know. It's the individuals, and that was really cool.
Yeah, when you called us that one day and I couldn't get him to stop running around, it was like, I was kind of upset. I was like, man, come on, I'm trying to do this, you know, get everybody to see him and everybody, you know, I wanted everybody to see that he's grateful and whatnot, but he's also 4. So I'm like, yeah, no, we're live, guys, you know, like, and, you know.
I remember the video. We went live on Facebook, and he was like in and out. He was like in and out and in and out. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this, look at this. He was like holding stuff, like, and I got this. And then he sat down at the computer. He's like, ooh, colors.
Lots of colors.
Because for those of you who haven't seen it, the computer has lots of colors.
It's really cool.
Oh yeah, it's amazing, and we're using it. He's doing gameplay. For instance, I don't know if I can share my screen with you, but I
Probably
was going to
can,
show you some gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know if let's see. Let's see.
It's buttons.
Buttons.
Share. I don't know. I thought I could. I saw a share screen, but I don't see it now.
Yeah,
No worries.
I'm not even
But
sure. But anyway, go ahead.
no, I got some stuff where he was in the hospital playing Roblox and just itching to get home and get out of there. I forget where we left off. You had a question. I was gonna say, you know what? To be honest with you, and you were like,
Oh,
It was
that's
about
right. So this is what happens when you get a bunch of gamers. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was about him ringing the bell and you saying that it wasn't really official until this past Monday. I think.
okay, yeah. So this past Monday is when he actually got his port out. So to me, his chemo ended December 14th, his last chemo, but it's a cycle and it stays in your system for a good bit, you know. So you got to get tested for your heart still. We got to make sure we're following his numbers. He's not dehydrated. He's not on any supplements. You know, we're tracking all that. But his last chemo was December 14th, but his next clinic wasn't until January 14th. So we had the chemo, then scans were 2 days later to let us know that they weren't seeing anything and everything was good and it was working. So we did scans on the 16th. So that was kind of like an end, right?
Right.
And then January 14th was the last clinic we went to, and at that clinic they were like, okay, well, this is when the port's coming out. And then at that point I was like, port's coming out. Okay, that means no more chemo, no more medicine, but at the same time, if something were to, you know, and then we got it. Okay, so port coming out was both awesome and oh wow, that means anything we do now is in the arm. Like next clinic, they're gonna have to take his blood from his arm. They explained it to him, but it was the official like, okay, we're done with this chapter, and now the remaining up to 5 years is remission, 2 years of survivorship. So the remaining years is gonna be like monitoring, and you know he's got the sniffles and a little cough right now. You get nervous. You're like, you know, I'm like, because he's not on any medications,
Right.
nothing.
And the immune system is not what it used to be.
Right, and we're using a lot of supplements and things that medicine won't tell you. You know, medicine is just like, we're going to give them this for side effects and this for side effects. And we're like, so we did a whole bunch of stuff that they did not say to use. But then when we told them we were using, they were like, oh, yeah, that's going to be good. And they're like, why? This is a big thing. And we're thinking about starting what's called Mighty House, a charity to where we focus on wellness and nutrition, to where, you know, guys like yourself are providing things like animals and stuff like that, and then other people are giving blankets, and we want to give something as well. And I know it's so early that this is just now kind of get over, but eventually we're gonna get into some of that. He wants to show some more of his work.
All right.
So there's who's that?
Bendy.
That's Bendy, and here's another one.
Ink Bendy.
Ink Bendy.
Oh, so there's Bendy and Ink Bendy, huh?
Yeah, he loves it, man.
Mason,
Bendy
what's
and
your
the
favorite
Ink
video game?
What's your favorite video game? Roblox.
And Bendy.
And Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Roblox and
I
Bendy.
like this guy.
Roblox, he's on constantly. I have gameplay. If you go Mighty Mason Gaming on YouTube, we have all sorts of gameplay on there with his friends, with his sister. He has reaction videos. I'm going to try to get him to go streaming on his Twitch, but not yet.
I saw the slam dunk.
Oh, yeah, he loves that.
Yeah.
I got him a new goal for Christmas, and he runs around singing, slam, da-da-da, da-da-da. He loves it, man.
Up. He's on fire.
There's a charity called Project Outrun, and Project Outrun provides sneakers for kids to outrun their illnesses.
Oh,
right?
That's cool.
And he's got Nike connections. We ordered him a pair of sneakers, and he puts these shoes on and goes out and he balls.
That's awesome.
Great.
That is so good. Hey, man, if you got anything else you want to tell us, I'd love to hear it. If not, we're going to let you get back to your family, enjoy them. It was an honor, privilege to meet with you guys and, you know, just play a small part in this. We're looking forward to see, you know, Mighty Mason take on the world, man, you know. I did think it was really interesting, like you said, that, you know, when the port came out, that's when it got real, you know. It's like, okay, This
in
is
both directions, you know.
this is the next step. So
Yeah.
now you got 2 years and 5 years, right? Is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yeah, this year we'll do every few months. We're gonna do scans. They're gonna check his heart about every few months as well, just to
Okay.
make sure everything's going good. We're gonna do some detox this year, and then after 2 years, it's called survivorship. And once you're past an 18-month mark, they generally say it's good for this particular condition, but
Right.
still 5 years is remission. And he's on study, so they'll be monitoring him for 10 years, just every year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you because you're starting to come up with some of this other stuff. Um, were you a good student in science when you were in high school?
I don't know. I was an average student, but it wasn't
I was gonna
because
say
it
because
was.
you've learned a lot of science in this last
Oh
year,
man,
haven't you?
I've a matter of fact, one of my friends recently was diagnosed with lymphoma, and she was asking me, like, what supplements could I do, and she's so on it. She messages me and she's like, "Oh man, thank you for being my soundboard. I tried a couple of these things. It's great. My doctors love it." So I learned so much because I was just really focused, and I'm that detail oriented where
Yeah.
I was studying every day the effects that day of what was happening. And I jumped in on some nurses when they were doing some things, and and I love the nurses, I love the doctors. It's just some things I really, you got to be the best advocate you can be for them, because there's no nurses are great. They're looking out for you, but they got other patients, right? So they're not like paying exact attention. Like before they gave him his pre-meds, he was kind of a little sick, and then they were going to hang chemo immediately. This is one story I have. And I was like, hey, hold up. He's fine. He's not throwing up yet. Let's wait a little bit. And, it's just small little things like that. And they were like, sure, you're the parent, whatever you want. So there was some times that I really, all my research and things really helped the situation, and focused on the nutrition at home and being disciplined. In school, I'd say I was an average, but I did that kind of on purpose. I just
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to be seen one way or the other. I wasn't a failure, but I wasn't an A student. I
Yeah,
kind of,
you went from
you
being
know,
an okay student in science to being a great student in science in the last year.
oh,
Uh,
thank you, my son. My son brought it all, man. Many
yeah.
blessings. I love it.
Well, man, we're gonna let you go. We really do appreciate it. Again,
Thank
man,
you.
we'll catch up. We'll keep track, and keep hitting us up.
All right. I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna keep in touch. Like I said, Mighty Mason Gaming on YouTube, and he's got a Twitch account, but he's not on there yet. But Mighty Mason Gaming on YouTube, check him out.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And we'll just continue to do this, continue to make a difference. See ya.
This is awesome.